Welcome to the Planet of Maths channel. This video is dedicated to special products of binomials. This time we'll talk about the difference of cubes and sum of cubes. In example A, we have to factorize the given expression, and we have x to the power of 3 minus 64. Here we'll be able to use the first formula for the difference of cubes. All we need to do is notice that 64, this is the same as 4 to the power of 3. So we can write it like this. It's the same as x to the power of 3 minus 4 to the power of 3. In the formula, there is a cubed minus b cubed. So in our case, a equals x, and b equals 4. According to the formula, after the equal sign, we put parentheses. Inside these parentheses, it should be a minus b, which in our case, it's going to be x minus 4. This is a minus b, and in the second bracket, we put a squared, which is x squared. Then add ab, which is a times b, so x times 4. This is a, this is b, and plus b squared, which is 4 squared. In this first parenthesis, nothing happens here. In the second parenthesis, we rewrite x squared stays the same. In this part, we will write it in reverse and sorted order, so it's going to be 4x plus 4 squared, which is 16. And that's the end of this example. We broke this expression down into factors, or we turned it into a product. We have a multiplication of these two brackets, and we have the product of one and the other bracket. Example B is 8x to the power of 3 minus 27, and here we can use the same formula for the difference of cubes. We notice that 8x cubed is the same as taking 2x and raise it to the third power. So this 8x cubed, we can write it as 2x in parentheses, raised to the third power. Similarly, we can replace the number 27 with 3 to the power of 3. And at this point, we already have the difference of cubes. So we can use our formula. 2x in the bracket is a, and b is 3. Using the formula, we have to write in the first parentheses a minus b. In our case, it's going to be 2x, because that is a, subtract 3, because that is b. This is the first parenthesis. Now in the second parenthesis, we need to square a. For us, a is 2x. This time we need to put one more parenthesis and square it. This is a squared. Then it should be plus a times b, so 2x is our a, multiplied by our b, which is 3. And at the end, there is still plus b squared, which is plus 3 squared. We need to sort out the second bracket a bit. The first one stays the same. And in this second part, we square 2x. So we square 2, which is 4. And we also need to square x, which is simply x squared. From this part, we will multiply 2 times 3 and get 6x. And here, 3 squared gives 9. And we have the example completed. In example C, we have the fraction 1 over 8 plus 125x cubed. So since it's plus here, so this time we're going to use this second formula for the sum of cubes. But first, we need to notice these cubes. 1/8, it turns out, is 1/2 to the third power. And 125x cubed equals the cube of such an expression, the expression 5x. 5x taken in brackets to the third power gives exactly this number. So now we can see the sum of cubes. So we'll use the formula. Our a is 1/2, and our b is 5x. And in parentheses, we need to write a plus b, which is 1/2 because this is a, plus b, which means plus 5x. And in the second parentheses, first we need a squared, that is 1/2 squared. The fraction must definitely be put in parentheses. Then we have minus a times b, which is 1/2, times b, meaning times 5x. This is a times b plus b squared, which is 5x squared. We need to put that 5x in parentheses again. Here ends another parenthesis. We're calculating, but in the first parenthesis, we don't calculate anything, we just copy it. For the second bracket, we calculate 1/2 squared, which is 1/2 times 1/2, so 1/4. Then there is a minus, 1/2 times 5, which is half of 5. We can write that it is 2.5. Or you could also write 5 over 2 times x and add 5x squared. Here the square applies to 5. We get 25. And the square works on x, so it's x squared. End of example C. Example D is 1000x to the power of 3 plus 64. In this example, we need to find cubes again. The expression 1000x to the power of 3 is equal to 10 to the power of 3, because the cube works on 10 and gives 1000. Cubing works on x as well, so it gives x cubed. The cube of this expression is this. And the number 64 is equal to 4 cubed. 4 to the power of 3 gives us 64. We have converted this into a sum of cubes, and now we can see that our a is 10x and our b is 4. And we can use formula. In the first parenthesis, we need to write a plus b, so that is 10x plus 4. This we have in the first bracket. In the second bracket, it should be a squared, which is 10x, because that's our a, squared. We need to put 10x in parentheses, then we have minus ab, a, which is 10x, times b, which is 4. And finally, we also have plus b squared, which is plus 4 squared. We need to tidy this up a bit more, but not in the first parenthesis, it doesn't change. And here we do this. We square 10, which gives 100, and we square x, so we get x squared. Here we multiply 10 by 4, which gives us 40x, and finally 4 squared gives us 16. This is the end of example D. In example E, we need to factorize an expression like x to the 6th power minus 1. It might be tricky for a moment to find the difference of cubes here. There's no trouble with the 1. 1 is 1 to the power of 3. And this x to the power of 6 is the same as x squared and then cubed. The exponents multiply and would eventually give us that 6 from there. So everything is okay here. Now we have the difference of cubes, where our a is x squared and our b is 1. We use the formula for the difference of cubes, which states that in the first bracket we need to put a and subtract b. So for us that will be x squared minus 1, because this is a and this is b. In the second bracket, we need a squared, meaning this x squared needs to be squared. Then it should be a times b, which is x squared times 1. And finally, b squared, b is 1, so 1 squared. The first parenthesis stays the same for now. I'll calculate the second one. X squared and then squared again equals x to the 4th power. When we multiply x squared by 1 here, we get x squared. And 1 squared is 1. It might seem like this is the end of the example, but it's really not. Because here in this first parenthesis, we have another special product formula hidden, which is the formula for the difference of squares. That formula a squared minus b squared equals 2 parentheses come out of that. And we can apply this formula here, the formula for the difference of squares. We have the difference of 2 squares, so instead, we can put the sum of these two expressions in the first parentheses, which is x plus 1. And in the second bracket, we can put x minus 1. These two brackets come from this one bracket here, and this entire bracket can't change, we just copy it. And only now we have this expression factorized into these 3 factors. And that's all for this video. Thank you for watching, and I invite you to tune in for the next episodes on the Planet of Maths channel.